All right, so my name is Christian Provenzano, and the topic we were picked to do was the impact from coronavirus on tech workers in Silicon Valley.
Uh, my name is Joseph Bradford, and I also contributed to this presentation.
Okay, this is our contents for the presentation, and first we're going to start off with the advantages and disadvantages of tech workers working from home. Then we're going to lead into onboarding programs and how should an onboarding program be structured for those who will telecommute. And then from there, we're going to go to environment preference. Like, would you prefer to always work at the office, from home, or a mix of both? And then maintaining strong corporate culture. How can a company foster a strong corporate culture if all of its workers telecommute? Competing for talent. How can a Silicon Valley firm compete for talent if they never come to the office? And then we're going to finish off the presentation with impacts. How will it affect personal and organizational behaviors? And how will it impact us as students? So first, about the topic. The quick spread of the coronavirus, the latest pandemic, is wreaking havoc on financial markets, especially the tech industry, by forcing companies to transition to a remote work environment.
I just included this quote because I think it relates to organizational behavior as a whole. The class is a lot about reflection, and also working from home. You have to live with yourself, so it's another thing that relates to the topic. So that's why I included this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Okay, topic number one, advantages and disadvantages of tech workers working remotely. Advantages. There's going to be less overhead costs for the companies to undertake. For example, when employees go into work, they are forced. Some tech companies feed their employees so they never have to leave. And then rent. In Silicon Valley, we all know how expensive rent can be. So if more workers transition to remote working, less workers were needed to come to the office, and maybe that company or firm can downsize into a smaller building, pay less rent. There's decrease in travel time for workers. If we think about the amount of time workers commute to the office, it could be hours, especially in places like Silicon Valley, New York, all the big financial places. So if we substitute commuting with actual working, I'm sure there would be a lot more done.
Do you think people would be happier? Like if I got to ride the Long Island Railroad in every morning and I spend an hour coming into Penn Station, then I got to go up, grabbing a subway and go up to 56th Street. Do you think that hour and a half I'd save each way would increase my satisfaction as a worker?
Yes, I do. I do tremendously. So I find it that more people, if you're not just sitting there waiting, and actually getting stuff done, the project will be done more efficiently and quicker, and then you can transition into a better project.
So I could also work under my timeline.
Yes.
As long as I do the work, it don't matter whether I work from 5 a.m. to 11 or 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., does it?
Yes, exactly. And then another advantage is geographic dispersal, which means interaction with more clients. If employees are spread around the country, their sales team interacts with people from those locations instead of just Silicon Valley. Like, you know what I mean? And then Silicon Valley salaries for companies. In the article we read, one employee, she left Silicon Valley, and her and the company came to an agreement to do a 25% pay cut, which means less money the company overall has to pay.
Did the lady move?
Yes, she moved to Utah, I believe it was.
And she got her cost of living is significantly lower.
Yes. But it was actually found that she found it to have a higher quality of life when she moved from Silicon Valley as well.
Do you think that's going to be a driving force as we go forward, this quality of life aspect?
Yes, yes. I think people will find themselves where they are most happy. And if they're not happy communicating and working for these jobs, these high stressful jobs in Silicon Valley, I think they will end up moving out of that place. I do.
Joe?
I completely agree with Christian. I read an article that was based around a study done by the city of San Francisco that it was a survey that surveyed the residents, and one in
Mm-hmm.
three residents were fed up with the cost of living. The survey was from November of 2019, and one in three residents of San Francisco wanted to move away because they just didn't like living there. So, I mean, I think we'll definitely see a lot more workers from Silicon Valley working like across the country rather than like working in Silicon Valley or like in the California area.
Okay.
And then some of the disadvantages we found was it was harder to spread corporate culture and less collaboration between workers. If workers aren't coming to the office and they're just sitting behind a screen all day, it's going to be harder to interact with each other, to come up with new ideas for innovation. It's going to be harder. And then tech issues. I know I've already experienced tech issues working from home for school. Like the link isn't working, or the PowerPoint wasn't uploaded, or the test isn't loading. And I'm sure with these more complicated companies, it's going to be a lot more havoc. And then home distractions. I'm personally affected by this because my mom works from home. She's a travel agent, and she's not just sitting at her desk, waiting for emails. She's doing laundry, she's cooking, she's taking care of my little sister. All things that take time away from keeping your focus on your work.
What, has she done that during the day at night when she got home, or
I'm sorry, what do you?
wouldn't if she still had to need to do those things at some point during the day?
Yes, yes, when she comes home, but there's 8 of us living in my house right now. And
Whoa.
it's kind of,
What do
yeah.
you have, a whole multi-generation? Or just,
Well, my grandma and grandpa live with me, and
okay,
then there's 6 people in my family. So,
okay,
so there's a lot of loads of laundry to be going around,
I
too much
see.
mouths to feed. So it never ends, basically.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah, yeah. And then the last disadvantage we found was Silicon Valley salaries for their workers. When you're in Silicon Valley, we all see the pay is substantial compared to
Hmm.
um, other places. So if you're not working in that place, then you're not going to get the salary. You're not going to make as much.
Okay. That still comes down to your cost of living
Yes,
and
yes,
your job satisfaction.
yes.
Okay.
And then number 2, structure of onboarding programs for workers who would telecommute. One thing we thought would be good for the onboarding programs is to bring employees to a special location for welcoming procedures, just to make them feel wanted and to make them be happy, lead to more satisfaction. And then personal introduction to supervisors or managers, mentors. So I think that if you're assigned a mentor who will guide you through the process of transitioning to work here and show you the ropes, you will end up performing better and getting a better understanding of what needs to be done. You can have weekly or monthly meetings for check-ins just to see how they're doing. I know for me, it's the little things that make me happy, like compliments, if anyone asks if I'm okay, stuff like that. And then you can have a Zoom meeting with all the new workers to introduce themselves, talk about anything they want.
Do you think this would work for incoming freshmen if we don't come back?
Yes, yes, I do. I do. That's a great idea.
Should we do that with returning students too?
I mean, I would participate in it.
Okay.
I would definitely participate. The more people you know, the better. It's just that's how life is.
Hmm.
And then preference to work from home, in the office, or both. Joe, you want to start?
Sure. I'm more of a office worker primarily based on like my work experience. I love working in the office. I love collaborating with people. It's really satisfying to me and validating. And even if I had to work from home, I'd probably rent an office space to work because there's just too many distractions at home. And I just get distracted too easily. So, I mean, I'm not satisfied unless I have a 40-hour work week. So that's me. But what about you, Christian?
For me, I definitely prefer to work in the office most days, but to take a break, because everyone needs a break sometimes, maybe we can maybe work from home on just Fridays or Mondays, just to take a step back from that office life, all the chaos. Because I
Yeah.
know last spring when I had no classes on Fridays, it was a catch up day for me to catch up on all my work, so I would work throughout that whole day.
hmm Yeah, I don't know. I've done this transitioning from working 5, 6 days a week when I started teaching to, well, I'd be down 3, 4 days a week. And then in the summer, I work online, and now we've gone through this. I think I'd be good with like 2 days in Geneseo, and the rest, yeah, I could work remotely.
Oh
Because
wow.
what am I going to do today? What do you think I'm going to do today? It's going to be close to 90.
Gonna go for a walk?
I already did that. It's early this morning. I'm going to be in the pool. I'm going to take a nap in the pool. Now, if I were in Geneseo, I can't go out at 1 o'clock and take a nap in the pool and enjoy the sunshine. So I see it as a balance. Is that, a couple days, yeah, I need to do, but the rest I could do remotely.
I have a question, Professor. You were going to be in London this summer, but unfortunately the pandemic happened. What has been your experience like teaching from London compared to like the United States? Do you have to like change your schedule around or?
No, scheduling these things would be a wee bit different.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'd have to adjust for that. That's the only thing I'd have to adjust. The rest, it doesn't matter where I am.
Wow.
Because you don't know where I'm sitting, do you?
No, I have no idea.
Right. Do you need to know? No. We're quite disappointed in that.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear.
I was planning on being there. But a
Yeah.
6 hour time difference. So if we were in Europe, this would only be about 5, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:15. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'd either have to, you guys sometimes stay up real late,
Yeah.
which would really be early morning London time. So if you wanted to have a meeting with me at midnight, 1 o'clock, we could do that.
Sure.
True.
I do miss that. I wanted to be away this summer. Really.
I have
But
another
we
question.
adapt. Go ahead.
So, do you find yourself to be less self-motivated working in the same place where it'd just be easier to just, like you said, take a dip in the pool?
Well, that energizes me to some degree. I have flexibility to do stuff. And then when I do come back to work, I sort of got to force myself to get it done. But I have some control. And when I feel like I'm in control, I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get a life balance now.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. That's true.
If I come to the office and, we got people lined up and I go from 8:30 to 4, nonstop people, it's fine. But, if I can go do some other things in the middle of the day, I have a better quality of life.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
And do you ever feel like just sleeping in some mornings?
Yes,
Oh yeah, of course.
Wait a minute. You can do that if you work from home.
Yeah.
that's true.
If I get it, you can.
I crave structure. I don't know. I come from a military family, so
Oh, you have to have the discipline?
yeah. But I have absolutely no discipline, which is the funny part. It's crazy.
You have to change. That's what happens. Is your mindset, I guess, has to change
Yeah.
as to what work is and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
It's adapting.
Okay. And number 4, fostering strong corporate culture while working remotely. The problem is due to the home isolation, employees will have no direct contact with each other. So, how will companies maintain that strong corporate culture? And then some solutions we thought about was companies can hold retreats to other places. They can do golf tournaments together, group discussions without any work talk, and maybe just one-on-one meetings between higher ups and lower ranking employees to
Sure.
solve any issues they may have with the company.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing is isolation. I
Yeah.
think that's a risk.
Okay, and Joe?
For slide 5, how Silicon firms can maintain strong abilities to compete for talent. So first thing they can do is improve their applicant tracking systems. What we're seeing now is a lot of firms are focusing more on the workforce rather than focusing on hiring new employees. But a way they can definitely improve their firm, like their company, is by hiring like more flexible employees who have like a larger variety of skill set. Offer flexible work hours. I mean, working from home, you get like a lot of flexible work hours with deadlines. Company sponsored wellness programs. These are a big thing. Everybody's working out right now. Dan from Smith is really big on Fitbit. So
Are you
really,
guys doing anything like that this summer?
wellness programs. I joined a running club, but that's it.
Okay. Christian?
Yeah.
And also, like having the company like sponsor like um, buying like a Fitbit for you or something along those lines. Employer match retirement contributions. I mean, this is an old one, but 401ks is a really big one. Planning for the future. Child care reimbursement. This is more focused with families in mind. My maternity leave and stuff like that, but that's mandated by law, so that's pretty mandatory. And then firm specific benefits. This is the best one I could think of for finding talent for like newly college graduates. Um, Having like those perks from a specific firm really help. So it'd be very important, definitely when recruiting candidates, like choosing what company you want to work for and what their values are is usually very important for highly driven, talented individuals who have just graduated college. So,
Can you give an example from the internship you had at Constellation?
yeah, working at Constellation, it was probably the best work experience I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of jobs. The firm specific benefits are really nice. One of the managers there always said like we're not working with toilet paper. We're working with alcohol, which is a pretty interesting subject. And it was just like a great experience working with people there. Because it was working with everybody there had experience with like big four firms and had their CPA. So it just gave me like a really good insight into a career path and what I wanted to do with my life. And I grew a lot there with my Excel skills, people skills, everything there. So it was really good.
What about some other benefits you might have had?
I'm
I'm reading the witness. Come on, you know that, Joe.
I had access to the employee wine store, which was a big benefit because I got to buy alcohol wholesale. And the biggest benefit of that is during my time there, I worked there before they liquidated a lot of their lower end products in their portfolio. So I got that for super cheap because they were liquidating those firms and moving away from those firms to a more premium portfolio to invest in their cannabis investment that they invested in 2018.
Okay. So that's an example of some things that companies can do
yeah.
to build goodwill. Now, did you ever go
Yeah.
down to the cafeteria to have a drink at the end of the day?
Almost every day for the happy hour on Fridays, yeah. And those 2.5 hour lunches on Fridays, yeah, those were pretty nice.
So that improved your quality of life.
Tremendously, and it also improved my experience with my coworkers, learning and talking with them. So it was
Okay.
great.
That's a good thing. Why do you think the company does that?
Um, it like the word escapes me, to increase like collaboration between coworkers. Like if you know a friendly
Sure.
face, or you see a friendly face at the bar, they don't seem so distant. I got to know a lot of people, or at least talk with them from the sales team, and even HR standing at the bar, just walking up and saying like, "Hey, what do you do? I'm an intern here." So it was like a complete and great experience.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last slide, Joe.
Number 6 is impacts on us as students and effects on organizational factors. So it's harder to study human behavior if people are working remotely. Um, you have to, the channels of communication have to be open for the student as well as the professor, which is very important. Internship cancellations. I had an internship at I want to say Kodak because I've been upstate for so long, but it's not Canon, the camera manufacturer here in Melville, Long Island. But that got canceled, and I know Christian, your internship got canceled as well in the city.
Yes.
What were you going to do, Christian?
I had a finance internship in the city for a communications company in Toronto. I was going to work in their finance section.
More remote internships in the future. That's just looking ahead. There's going to be more remote internships, staying at home, because they might not need us in the office for the coffee runs or the wine store runs. And then less hands-on experience. Interns could be possibly working through a screen from now on, which is more just like being directed, like given a task every day. I know, like when I interned at Constellation, I was interning during the year-end close, so it was really busy around the office, and there sometimes wasn't something for me to do because it was just such high-level material and sensitive stuff. So I would just read MDMAs by like Canopy and stuff like that. It was a really good experience. But I mean, interns will just have to learn how to manage themselves while also like keeping an open channel with their supervisor. And more bureaucracy. There's going to be more red tape. As we move on to online, I think, or this is my projection at least, that colleges will have much more steps for you to follow, going through application processes and learning processes and stuff like that. So that's how our life as students are going to change through this remote learning experience.
And then it's just our works cited.
Okay. What did you learn by doing this?
I learned that technology is going to be the face of the world. It's just how life is going to be from now on. Everything's going to be through technology, and we have to learn to adapt. Like I said, the internships, probably some companies are going to switch to remote internships, less hands-on experience.
Yeah, I learned that I have to become a high-level manager if I want to work in the office because it seems like all of the employees are going to be working from home from now on. I have a friend who lives up in Canada in Cambridge, which is like the Silicon Valley of the East, or so it's been called. And he doesn't have to go back to the office for the entire year, and he's a senior level data analyst for magnet forensics. So I don't know. And that's really what I've been hearing across the industry from top executives. Like only like 25% of the workforce are going to be returning to the office. And that's if the cases stay low. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think this approach of giving you an article, having you research it and present it, was that a good learning experience for you?
Yes.
Yeah. It definitely, presenting in front of you, definitely made sure that I did my research and get it done. I made sure I have a lot of facts. I've seen students being tested at Smith after the presentations,
Okay.
which is important. But it's definitely a learning experience, and I'm sure it definitely will, what I've learned here from doing this presentation will definitely stick with me, especially after doing the discussion,
Yes. That was the
because
best part.
that's what lays the footprint for the learning. Christian, do you have anything to add?
No, I just have to add that the discussion was actually my favorite part because I think it's better to ask questions and discuss what you're talking about during the presentation
Yeah.
instead of everyone just bombarding with questions right after the presentation. I'd much rather have a conversation about the topic.
I think that's a real positive thing. I've enjoyed the presentation. I learned, and it makes you think,
It does.
like, what does the future hold for us? I mean, you're young. You guys are young. You got a lot more stuff to figure out, but we all do in the face of education.
Yes, it's gonna be a rough journey.
But we know that it's going to be a great journey, and you're going to both, and you've both heard me say this, you're going to hold jobs that haven't been invented yet.
Yes.
So be prepared.
Mhm.